This is Ronnie Nichols, and I'm going to make a little video here from some pictures that I've had on my website for quite a while. I've made a few videos about guitar, banjo repairs, and lutherie stuff, and so I've looking through my website, and I've got some pictures of some repairs I've done, and some of the stuff that I wanted to put on here. I have pictures of it, so we're going to just document this video with some pictures. Now, first of all, I want to give credit to Frank Ford. Frank has been a big influence on me, and was able to meet him in 2000 in Nashville at a ASIA conference, and I've studied his website and learned a whole lot from him. So that's I don't want to fail to mention Frank, because he's been a big influence on me. Now, I mentioned my website and Frank Ford's website. My website is ronnienichols.com, and Frank's is frets.com, and I'd highly recommend Frank Ford's website. A lot of good information on there. Whatever he says on there, you can go by, because he didn't put stuff on there he read in a book. He put stuff on there that he'd done. So check it out. This video is going to be demonstrating a little jig, I guess you call it, that I've come up with, that I've used for quite a few years. I had some trouble in my early years when I was gluing a bridge on the top of a guitar, and that thing slipped, and the time I realized that it had moved, the glue was so dry I couldn't hardly get it off. So I devised this little jig that I've used, and it's worked mighty well for me. I bought some material several years ago from a local sign shop, and it's a plastic material. It's 40 thousandths of an inch thick. I don't know what kind of plastic it is. It doesn't matter, but I use it for templates and stuff, and it's worked out good for me. And this material, I cut a piece a little bit bigger than the bridge, so that I can tape it onto the top of the guitar. Here's a picture of a piece of this stuff I've cut to shape, and I lay the bridge that's going to go on the guitar down around this, on top of this plastic stuff, and take a razor knife and cut around it, and then break it out of the original piece. And I've got may have to file on it a little bit, but I've got a section of plastic that this new bridge will fit down into and not move around. This picture shows what it looks like initially taped down to the top of the guitar. I will locate the saddle placement with some other jigs that I've got a video about on here in another place, but locate where the saddle goes and be sure that it's centered up with the neck, so the strings go down the side of it where they should. And when I get it where it should go, I tape it down with masking tape and check and be sure that everything's right and that it's sitting square. After I'm sure that I've got everything placed properly, I'll tape the piece of plastic down around the edges so it doesn't move, and I'm ready to for the next step. Now, here's a picture of a J45 that I worked on, and I refinished this guitar. If you notice that I finished the guitar top without the bridge on it, I've learned that I can do that and do it more successfully. When you put a bridge on a guitar before you finish the top, it's hard to get the places around the edge of the bridge smooth without kind of having some overspray and it being rough. But what I've learned to do is to put the finish on it and then locate my bridge position. And with this plastic stuff, I can scrape, and with a single edge razor blade and some little scraping tools and some sandpaper, I can clean that underneath that bridge off right out to the edge, so it'll make a good clean joint transition there. Here's a picture of my clamping procedure. I've used 3 clamps, and I've got some little cawls that I've made out of some delrin, and I use them. I've got a little jig that I put underneath the guitar to clamp it against, and I clamp that thing down there, and it does pretty good. After I get it clamped in place, I take the masking tape off around the edges of this plastic stuff, and I cut me a little section out where I can get this plastic off. And then, while it's still clamped, I can take a damp rag and clean the glue off up to the edge of the bridge, and it makes a clean edge on it. And here's what it looks like after I get the glue cleaned off. And naturally, I leave this thing clamped up for several hours or even overnight, and it makes a pretty clean looking joint. Now these gluing cawls are a one-time use. I've seen that bridges all little different sizes, and it's best to cut the cawl out to the size of your bridge. This picture here shows an old Washburn guitar I worked on a while back. It had a whole different shaped bridge on it, but you just lay the bridge on top of a piece of that stuff and cut around it, get it good and fitting good and tight, and it'll hold it in place. Hope this video makes sense to you and you can use some of this information. And by the way, my videos are not monetized. I make these videos to share information with people.